Alright, well, we're sitting on the runway. Let's have another go. Alright, as I said, I've had a few problems with brakes, so I might move my picture down here into that corner, out of the way, so it doesn't interfere with anything. Alright, now I have devised a way to get the brakes off, so let's let me just come down here for a second. I'll give it some throttle, and I've actually, there's the engines going up. I've set the brake on the autopilot button, so there we go. I've taken the brake off. Let's see if this works. Don't like that way she's veering off to the left a little bit. She'll straighten out, I think. Yep, there we go. I don't want to steer. V1, pull back on the side stick. We're up. Bring the undercarriage up. Here we go. Where are we up to? A few hundred feet. Let's put the pilot on.
Cobra 1 contact, departure on 118.4. Good day.
118.4 Cobra 1. Departure Cobra 1 is at 1,000 feet climbing 8,000 feet.
Cobra 1 departure QNH29er.9er to continue as planned.
Sydney off there on the right. Not very bright. I wish I'd have done this in full sunlight. It would have been better. But as I said, I haven't flown for a while because I've had problems with controls. And I think I've got most of them sorted out now, so we're going to have to fly, or we're going to have to do a right turn in a minute and fly over Sydney so we can get on course for Canberra. So should be safe in Canberra today. There's no politicians there. They're on the way to Italy, I think. Doing this recording for my mate John out there. He gets a bit upset when I don't put one up on YouTube, so this one's for John, alright. What a day to be flying. No drama. He's got a few new things since I did my last one. Forget that points of interest in the middle there. It's starting to show me stuff I don't want. I can do that in the settings. But one of the interesting things is up there in the top left corner. I can see it displays airports that are close to me. So if I get a drama or I want to change airport, you see see I'm on my way to Canberra, there's one that says cancel destination Canberra. Now if I was in trouble I could cancel the destination to Canberra, and you'll see the next airport is Kingsford Smith, only 1 minute away. So I can divert to Kingsford Smith. And as we go along this morning, you'll probably see a couple of other airports will pop up. Goulburn will be one. One of the interesting things, Sydney Harbour down there. One of the interesting things when I fly to Canberra is that when I fly over Lake George, it's the most amazing thing because it's got water in it. Now anyone that drives around St George to go to Canberra will know we haven't had any water in Lake George since the 1950s. So that's something we need to straighten out. I might get onto Microsoft and let them know about that. Anyway, sit back and enjoy the flight. A few clouds around today. Nothing major. Can't see any storms. A couple of things I haven't done in the takeoff. I need to turn on my terrain. I haven't turn that on yet. Terrain and my TCAS, turn that on. And my flight director is on, that's good. I might, yeah. No, that's good. No, I'm happy with that. What we might
Cover
do...
1 climb and maintain 14,000 feet.
Roger.
Climb and maintain 14,000 feet, Cobra 1.
That's the voice of my co-pilot you can hear, letting him handle the radio today. I might pull down my heads-up display. Strange. Probably because I'm turning. Yeah.
Cobra 1 contact Melbourne Center on 129.8. Good day.
129.8 for Cobra 1. Melbourne Center Cobra 1 is at 8,800 feet climbing 14,000 feet.
Cobra 1 Melbourne Center QNH 29.9 continue to Cordo as planned.
That's one thing about the Dreamliner, it has this heads-up display and it'll see we're now at 9,400, climbing up to 14,000. And of course our airspeed on the left here is 242. If I get rid of the heads-up display, we can come down here actually and have a look at it. I'll get rid of the yoke. I don't use it very much. So you can see everything you want to know from here as well. I'm using a side stick rather than the yoke. You can't actually see my co-pilot sitting here today, but I can actually turn that feature on if I wanted to. It's quite weird sitting there seeing a lady sitting alongside you. In this case I've got a bloke today as a co-pilot. Yeah. One thing I haven't done also, to go down here and I need to set the route, if you like, or the legs for the route, the different spots as we go along the route. On some planes there's a button that says route and you can set the route that you've already set before you started off. This one we just put the legs, which is basically the same thing, that you know where you're going to go. Take a look outside at the Dreamliner if you like. Where do we want to go for that? Let's go up here to the heads-up display and let's pull up the camera. We'll go to external. That's the Dreamliner. A little bit noisier outside, of course. If I move my picture, you can see that I also, when I'm external like this, I can also control the airspeed and the altitude and everything. That's showcase. It's cold out here. Looks like a few storm clouds up there. I'll go back in the cockpit. Here we go. Back down here, friend. There's different camera angles that you can set up in this feature as well, but I haven't set them up yet. You know, you can look out of the cabin window over the wings and all sorts of stuff if you want to set it up, which I haven't done because I'm sitting in the front seat. What am I going to be running back there for? There's a couple of planes in Microsoft Flight Sim now that have a passenger component with them as well, built in by Microsoft, which is quite interesting. little bit more complicated, a lot of setting up to do, I can tell you. Worth it. Okay, we're crossing over, we're only 1 mile. If you look up the top left there, you'll see Wedderburn Airport. We're only 1 mile from Wedderburn, so that's an alternative destination. Whether the runway is long enough to put a Dreamliner down, I really don't know. If I chose it as an airport, it would tell me. Yeah, I guess it's something to do now. Well, we're not in lockdown anymore, but could have done a lot more of this when I was in lockdown, but no drama. I think this is one plane that I can't show my co-pilot in for some reason. With the Neo A320 I can, and I can also put it in my CJs as well. What I don't like about running the co-pilot program is you can see the pilots as well, which is me. And sadly, if I'm not sitting far enough back, I've got this damn microphone, pilot's microphone, stuck in my face all the time, and it's very annoying. So I'm finding a new way around that. When I have my co-pilot in the co-pilot seat, fully dressed in full uniform, co-pilot's epaulets on. Some of the clouds seem to be clearing a little bit. Down there to the right is Mittagong Airport, 18 kilometres, 1 minute away. Dreamliner, it's a reasonable plane. I haven't felt any turbulence all day, isn't that wonderful? Must be my stomach rumbling. Shell Harbour Airport down below, 1 minute away. Well, there's lots of airports. If you get into trouble and want to ditch, I did have a, what was I in? I was in a DAT, I think. I had an engine fire. I had to kill the engine. And when I got to I was able to continue to my destination airport, though very gingerly. I got to the airport and it wouldn't let me land. It told me to land to the side of the runway. It didn't want to block the runway, so I put it down on the grass alongside the runway. And thus was able to taxi to the terminal, so that wasn't too bad. Yeah, this program's interesting, and that you can set it up to throw curveballs at you. Mittagong Airport, 1 minute. What are we travelling at? 300 knots. That's all right, I guess. 14,000. Holding steady at 312 knots. It's not bad. A lot of the time I travel around 250 knots. I don't like to get too much higher, but once you get over 10,000 feet you can increase your speed, rate of knots, but under 10,000 feet I think you have to keep it at about 250 knots. What have we got down here of interest? Here's the rudder trim. Fix that if we wanted to. There's the parking brake. I've been having so much trouble with, not on this plane but on all of the planes. It shudders backwards and forwards, doesn't know if it's on or off. A lot of the time it's interfering with something somewhere. I don't know, so interfering with the normal controls. So as I said, I've reset my quadrant to recognise the autopilot push button as a brake release. That's what I've done. Here is the speed brakes. I can change the speed brakes to do whatever I want to do with it. Flaps. We're in a fair bit of acceleration at the moment, which is probably why we're looking at 310 knots. Normally after I've taken off, I bring it down to halfway. Just take that off for a second and have a look. No, it's going to stay there. No, it's brought the speed brakes back. There we go. Throttle's gone back up. So the speed brakes on. Speed brakes are very good when you know, you're getting a little bit too quick and the speed is over the top and you want to pull it back a bit. If you get into a situation where your speed gets too much, you can get the ticker going, as they call it. The ticker, it vibrates the steering column and lets you know perhaps you should pull back a bit, fellow, you know, and use the speed brake, and it'll pull you back into reasonable safety, slow you down a bit. It's quite good. Goulburn Airport, 2 minutes away. What else would you be doing on a Friday morning? Drinking beer, probably. No, I don't think so. Not a big beer drinker. Not a big drinker, in fact. I'm diabetic, so I have to pull back a bit. I do like a scotch from time to time. Southern Highlands. It's quite amazing, really. Not bad. Both sides around the cockpit. Not bad at all. That world's best boss. I'm the boss of me.
Cobra 1, contact Melbourne Centre on 118.8. Good day.
118.8 for Cobra 1. Melbourne Centre Cobra 1 14,000 feet.
Cobra 1 Melbourne Center QNH29.9 continue to Res-I as planned.
Thank you. Message received and understood. It's good having a co-pilot to handle
Cobra
your...
1 descend and maintain 6,000 feet.
Okay. We're going
Descend
down to
and maintain
6,000 feet.
6,000 feet Cobra 1.
Yeah, it's good having the co-pilot handling the radio because you can enjoy the scenery. Now we're going down to 6,000 feet and you may hear the altitude indicator might shout 2,500 even though we're at 6,000. That's because around Canberra, of course, there's a lot of mountains. So we might be at 6,000 feet, but the mountains underneath of us, really, we've only got 2,500 feet between us and the top of the mountains, so it tells us when there's danger. As we get closer into Canberra, you'll see the terrain indicator come up. You'll see on the screen, second screen to the right there, you'll see orange come up, or green or red. If it's red, be careful, you're getting too low. It's really a good indicator of where you're at. Goulburn still 2 minutes away. Quite a relaxing way to spend a Friday morning. Just flying around. I did a little test flight this morning between Gold Coast and Brisbane just to make sure everything was working all right. It's only a 15-minute flight.
Cobra 1 contact Melbourne Center on 133.15. Good day.
133.15 Cobra 1. Melbourne Centre Cobra 1 is at 9,800 feet descending 6,000 feet.
Cobra 1 Melbourne Center QNH29.9 continue to George as planned.
Talking about continue to George. That's Lake George, of course. That's actually the marker that you can see in front of us, 18 kilometres. And it's called George. Reminds me of those magnificent men in their flying machines, flying around, enjoying the early breeze. Well, it is very early in the morning, of course. It's only 8:24 a.m, so we won't get full sunlight for a little while yet. I'm trying to run on real time as much as I can. I like to fly up to North Queensland quite often and fly around in the thunderstorms up there. It's really interesting. All your passengers with white knuckles on their feet, on their ankles as well, gripping the carpet with their toes. There's Gundaroo.
Cobra 1, you are 23 miles northeast. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS Yankee runway 35 approach via Charlie Bravo 49er radio. radial 13 DME are cleared to Charlie Bravo.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS Yankee runway 35 approach via Charlie Bravo 49er radial 13 DME arc cleared to Charlie Bravo Cobra 1.
Cobra 1 contact Canberra approach on 125.9er. Good day.
125.9er for Cobra 1. Canberra approach Cobra 1 6,000 feet.
Cobra 1 Canberra approach QNH29er.9er to continue to Charlie Bravo as planned.
Yeah, I'm just going to say I can't see Lake George, but there it is, just popped up in front of us. Yes, a very unusual sight. I'd enjoy it because ain't very often you see water in Lake George, not since 1950s anyway. So when I used to take American tourists through there, I used to tell them it was a secret submarine base and they only let water in when the submarines wanted to go out. Still haven't seen my terrain warnings coming up yet, a little ways yet. Lake George, I've driven all around that, both sides. Somebody must have drowned all the sheep. Lots of sheep are grazing in the bottom of Lake George, as I said, no water. It's an interesting place if you're driving there. You know, on the other side, you know, on the western side of Lake George, because you've got lots of stops where you can pull in and enjoy the views, take a rest or whatever you want to do, toilet stop, whatever, all the way along the rim of Lake George before you get into Canberra. Yeah, a few storm clouds out here today. Building. Altitude. Oh yeah, we're at 6,000. That's good. Once we clear these mountains, it'll drop us down to 3,000. We're not over them yet. There's nothing on the terrain monitor. Good country around Canberra. Now we've got some terrain. Just passed over a little bit of it. Fortunately it was green. I notice it very active when I'm in New Zealand flying the it gets very, very close to the peak of some of these. You'll get a nice green patch and then it'll go orange and then you think, hello, what's coming? And then you'll see all these red bits and you think, I'm going to avoid those. So you fly around the red bits. Unless you want to fly into the ground, of course. The plane seems to be following the course I set very easily today. There's no problem so far.
Cobra 1, descend and maintain 5,100 feet.
Okay, 5,000.
Descend and maintain 5,100 feet, Cobra 1.
Yeah, now you see the terrain monitor is starting to pick up the ground, green, and see that light green. That's not good, but we're okay. But you'll probably hear 2,500 in a minute because we're over the top of the mountain.
2,500.
There you go, see? Over the top of the mountain. When in actual fact we're at 6,000 feet or 5,000 feet we're coming down to. See, and there's the brown bit, that's, yeah. Always a good thing to keep your eye on. We don't want to be Air New Zealand and crash in the snow, but we can't do that because there ain't no snow. Remember I was in Auckland when that plane went down in New Zealand, in the Arctic. There's a whiteout.
Cobra 1, descend and maintain 4,800 feet.
Descend and maintain.
Descend and maintain 4,800 feet, Cobra 1.
Yeah, you can see the peaks of those mountains now, and this is something, we're not going over that one in front of us, we're going to go to the right. See 2,500.
Cobra 1, you are 12 miles south of Canberra. Contact Canberra Tower on 118.7 when inbound.
Tower on 118.7, Cobra 1. Canberra Tower, Cobra 1, 12 miles south inbound ILS Yankee runway 35 approach.
Cobra 1, Canberra Tower. QNH 29.9er2 wind 257 at 8. Cleared ILS Yankee runway 35 approach.
We've got the glide scope.
Cleared ILS Yankee runway 35 approach, Cobra 1.
It's showing red at the moment, which means we're too fast. It is coming down at the moment, as you can see. Coming down, 217. Ideal landing speed is about 185. You know, it looks like it's going to be a bit too high, so when I get around here, straightened up and online, and got landing permission, I shall pull the speed brake back. See if we can slow us down.
Cobra 1, wind 257 at 8. Cleared to land runway 35.
Cleared to land runway 35, Cobra 1.
It's coming down. Yeah, coming down. It should turn blue in a minute. There we go. I'll turn that off now. Put that back on. Undercarriage is down. Terrain monitor's really showing up orange. 1,000 feet. quiet in Canberra today. Some of those down radio runways look very small when you're approaching them. We're going to miss a lot. Not really. I did have a problem with the program for a while. It was tending to move me 500. It was tending to move me about half a runway to the right and wasn't landing straight. It's 400.
300.
300.
200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Nice and smooth.
Cobra 1, turn next taxiway.
I shall turn at the next taxiway. Won't be many planes around today because they're all overseas. But they're all Australian Air Force planes, of course, the Prime Minister uses.
Cobra 1, exit runway when able.
That's what I'm doing. Which way does it want us to go, left or right? It's changed it again. Yeah, we're going right. That was the original instruction. Oh, they like to be confusing. Okay, let me talk to...
Cobra 1, turn next taxiway. Cobra 1, contact ground on 121.7.
Okay.
121.7 Cobra 1.
What has brought us over here for? Anyway, welcome to Canberra Airport. Yes, hope you enjoyed your flight.